Well, hey, good morning to you. We're out at Nazaré, Portugal. Largest waves in the world here. Beautiful little town. Beautiful ocean. And we're doing Wake Up to Revelation. I'm not at home. We're on vacation, so I wanted to step out this morning and cover it anyway. Because it's really important we get through this book. It's really important that as we talk about it, that we continue to dig and we get through it, because it is written to us and it's written to followers of Jesus, so we can know what's about to happen. And we're still in the introduction of it, and I believe that there's so much depth of understanding of this introduction because it's knowing about, well, who's it written to and why is it written, and what do we do with this information? And the introduction tells us all that. And so we're just going to pick it up where I left off. Revelation 1, starting verse 9. I, John, both your brother and companion in tribulation and in the kingdom and patience of Jesus Christ, was on the island that is called Patmos. All right, I'm going to pause there because I want to talk about where he says the kingdom and patience of Jesus Christ. Because the patience of Jesus Christ, we talked about the kingdom last time, but what does he mean by patience? Patience is something we don't understand as Americans, for sure. We don't have a concept of patience. And what patience means to Jesus Christ is is very different than what you might actually think it means. Because if you look at the patience of Jesus Christ, let's just start about, well, what was he patient about? Well, I think one of the greatest moments of patience that Jesus Christ had is when they were beating him and nailing him to a cross. And he knew that all he had to do was speak a word, and a host of heavenly angels would come down and save him. Or all he had to do was speak a word and decreate the entire universe, bring those men's life to an end with just a spoken word. But he didn't, because he knew that had to happen. And I think it's really, understanding, well, if something's going to happen and it doesn't look good for us, but it's God's plan, we have to be patient in that thing. David fully understood that when David was, running from Saul and trying to flee from Saul. And he had the chance to kill Saul, but he had the patience because he knew that wasn't God's plan, that man was God's anointed. And he just had to let the guy keep hunting him. He understood that fully. He fully knew that. And going through tribulation, there's going to be moments, well, probably all of it. You see the rise of the Antichrist, and the only reason he's rising is because he's breaking laws and deceiving people. So you got to patiently sit and watch that. And then he starts declaring himself to be God in the temple, and you just got to patiently sit and watch that. And then he's going to start hunting you down because you're an outlaw. You're not bowing down to him. And he's got to patiently watch that. Because that's part of God's plan. Obviously you have a role, and in Revelation you'll learn that role. You don't just sit and watch it. You do have a bigger role than that. I don't mean to insinuate you just do nothing. But you can't change the outcome. You definitely can't change the outcome. And I think that's really kind of the point of it, is that there's this patience that has to go along with reading Revelation and understanding. It's one thing to read it and be like, oh, that looks terrible. or that looks hard, but it's quite another to actually go through it. And I know there's people around the world watching this, but as for Americans, we're not patient people at all. At all. Like the opposite of patience. Like we want it now. You know, so when the Antichrist rises, most Americans will be happy. They'll be like, yay. The Antichrist is ruling. Our lives are going to be much. He's here to save us. Whereas in the rest of humanity, you'll look at it like, that is not a good thing. What's about to happen there, that is not a good thing, but you have to patiently accept it. You have to lovingly and patiently accept the rise of the Antichrist, accept the fact that he's declared himself to be God, accept the fact that he's made you an outlaw, and of course, fight for survival and defend the defenseless during that time, and be involved in the War of the Saints, which is really the purpose of even reading this particular book. And play that role, but that's the, you know, like just kind of like what David did, you know. Well, what did David do? Well, he didn't just sit there and let himself get killed. He tried to escape. He actually joined other troops in fighting against Israel at times, but deceiving them. I mean, he was involved in a lot of things, but he didn't dare harm Saul because he knew that that was part of God's plan. And that's kind of the point of this, is that there's this moment where we just have to be patient. It's the patience. Jesus Christ. You know, and that's something that I just don't think a lot of people can do, really. They really can't. So, there you go. I promised my wife I'd bring her back some coffee. So I'm going to get that done. But I appreciate you joining me. And we'll just keep digging through.